outside Tomlinson at 8, I always stop completely. Don't tap your brakes. And when you get a date with Bridget, make sure that tank's kind of full. On second thought, forget it. That one's kind of cool. And each and every time you have a fight, just assume you're wrong and that is right. And make sure you really thank Miss Brinkman. She spends so much extra time. It's like she sees a diamond underneath. And she's polishing you to shine. And it goes, "Oh yeah, you got so much going for you, but I know at 17, it's hard to see past." Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Just a Breezy Chat. I know. It's been forever since I done any recordings. Good news, I'm in a new apartment. Um, I've been working a lot. I've also been going through a lot of stuff, like mentally. So it's like I don't think the internet's the best place for me to be on that. But anyway, I'm back now, healthier mindset, and it helps that I'm in a new place, new apartment. So much more of a peace of mind. And I will tell you that first night that I got here, um, you had like you gotta think I'm silly, but the moment I got to sit down on my couch without having to worry about if anybody was gonna come in or somebody was gonna interrupt me watching TV or whatever, it felt so peaceful. Yeah, and life is truly better when you have a lot of peace in your life, honestly. And I think moving to a new apartment was what I needed. And that also kind of ties into today's episode called the What Ifs of Life, the butterfly effect, and things I would change and advise. So, the what if. How many of us struggle with the what if? We are on season 10, episode 5, by the way. If you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe, help a girl out. But yeah. But anyway, I will also do a apartment tour later on. I'm still working on unpacking. I'll be honest with you. Um, there's a box of pots and pans still sitting over there in my kitchen right now. I know. Y'all moved. I went from a first floor to a third floor. It took 2 days for my calves to get back to normal so I could start hitting the gym again and start walking around again and stuff like that. Don't judge me. Um, but it is also fall, so I'm slowly starting to decorate, which you'll start to see more of that hopefully here soon, which is why I want to give you an apartment tour then. But anyway, I think we really need to click on today's episode. Isn't that why you logged on, really? But here we are. The what if. Now, how many of us remember the movie Butterfly Effect? It had Ashton Kutcher in it, and it was about this college student whose name was Evan Treborn, who was affected with headaches so painful that he blacks out. We've all been there, right? Um, most of us, not me, but a lot of people have been drunk when they black out. Some people have been sober when they black out. But anyway, while unconscious, he is able to travel back in time to the difficult moments in his childhood, and he can also alter the past for his friends like Kaylee, who was played by Amy Smart, who was molested by her father, who was played by Eric Stoltz. But change in the past can drastically alter the present, and Evan finds himself in alternate realities, including one where he's locked away in prison. It is one of my favorite movies watching up, and that was like one of my first experiences with Ashton Kutcher, like movie wise, and I love that movie. I haven't watched it in a long time. I think I might go back and watch it again. But anyway, here's a song by Brad Paisley, and it is called Letter to Me. Um, and it explores the formative years and what went wrong, right? And while there are many songs that could reflect the artist's younger letters, I think this stands out because it stands out to me, and it's one of my favorites. And I'm just gonna pull the song up real quick. While I do that, speaking of which, have y'all seen the this week the whole Lane Kiffin star Landry Kiffin, who hard launched her relationship with LSU's linebacker? Oh my gosh, I love it. I really want to be a fly on the wall right now with that going on. So, if you happen to be here, if you're curious with me, please just be with me on this one. But anyway, here we go. Here are the lyrics. If I could go back and write a letter to me, and send it back in time to myself at 17. First, I proved to me by saying, look under your bed. There's a skull can and a Playboy. No one else would know you read. Um, then there's the, and then I say, I know it's tough when you break up after 7 months, and yeah, I know you really liked her, but you don't, and it just don't seem fair, but all I can say is, pain like that is rare and it's fast. I kind of mixed those last two up. Don't judge. But anyway, y'all, you like to fall bow, by the way? I'm telling you, it's fall, but technically fall starting in September. I'm getting sidetracked. Okay. But anyway, it goes, and you got so much going for you, going right, but I know at 17, it's hard to see past Friday night. She wasn't right for you, and you still feel like there's a knife sticking up your back, and you're wondering if you'll survive, and you'll make it through this, and you'll see you're still around to write this letter to me. Then it goes on to the second verse where it goes, at the stop sign at Tomlinson at 8, I always stop completely. Don't tap your brakes. And when you get a date with Bridget, make sure that tank's kind of full. On second thought, forget it. That one's kind of cool. And each and every time you have a fight, just assume you're wrong and that is right. And make sure you really thank Miss Brinkman. She spends so much extra time. It's like she sees a diamond underneath. And she's polishing you to shine. And it goes, oh yeah, you got so much going for you, but I know at 17, it's hard to see past Friday night. Tonight's the bonfire rally, and you're at home studying instead because if you fail algebra, mom and dad'll kill you yet. But trust me, you'll squeak by and get a C, and you're still around to write this letter to me. And then it goes on to the third verse, which goes, you've got so much up ahead, you'll make new friends. Um, you should see your kids and your wife. And I'll end by saying, have no fear, as these are nowhere near the best days of your life. And I guess I'll see you in the mirror when you're a grown man. P.S. Go hug Aunt Rita every chance you get. And oh, you got so much going for you, but I know at 17, it's hard to see past Friday night. I wish you studied Spanish. I wish you take a typing class. I wish you would have worried and let it be. And hey, I say have a little faith, and you'll see. If I could write this letter to me, I think that's pretty cool, though. Like he talks about a lot of this stuff. But then there is okay. So I was a big fan of watching 16 and Pregnant, best birth control ever, by the way. Watching 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom and all of that. Plus, being a product of a teen mom, you know firsthand how dangerous that, well, not really dangerous, how different your life can be. So, but Caitlin Lowry is on the Unplanned podcast, which I do recommend going to watch. And she talks about what would have happened if she had kids 10 years later. And then she talks about what would happen if her mom had placed her up for adoption. Would she be as famous as she is? Like, will she have kids now? Kids later in life? But I also want to talk about the butterfly effect theory. And this is a real life butterfly effect theory that refers to a concept in chaos theory, where a seemingly insignificant small change in initial conditions can lead to a drastically different large scale outcome later on. Much like how a butterfly effect is flapping its wings could theoretically trigger a tornado in a distant location. Essentially, small actions have significant unforeseen consequences due to the complex and inner complexes of the system. Um, Here are some key points to the butterfly effect. There's the chaos theory, and this phenomenon is rooted in chaos and theory, which studies systems where changes in the initial conditions to the wildly different results. Weather is an example, is in commonly insists. Um, in atmospheric, like a butterfly flapping its wing could potentially affect weather, turn into a major storm. It's not always predictable, too. Remember that. Um, the butterfly effect highlights the difficulty in predicting complex systems with perfect accuracy because even tiny, seemingly insignificant factors can drastically change the outcome. Also, some more key points is real life examples. Missed opportunity, missing a bus, or unexpectedly meeting someone who became close to a friend. A great example, I remember, I think I was on TikTok when I came across this. And it was talking about this kid who was running late for school his and he was like an hour late or something or whatever. But whenever it was a good thing he was late because apparently the bus driver apparently like it was a school shooting. I want to say it was Columbine if I'm not mistaken. And then there was a kid on I don't know if it's true or not, but this kid's like apparently he had missed a bus and apparently that bus had crashed because he was making his mom mad, but his mom was looking back so grateful that he missed that bus because her life could have changed that day if she had let him get on that bus if he was on time. But like, look at historical events like a minor political decision that could lead to a major war, and all that. I will say this. I'm gonna bring up Charlie Kirk for a second. Yes, yes, I know. Go ahead, clock out if this isn't something you're into. Charlie Kirk, he was defending our rights of free speech and public debate. That's all. And he got assassinated in front of his wife and his two children. His children now have to grow up without a father. And they live in an age with technology where they can go back at this moment and look at this. So I'm just gonna put that out there. But like, what about the butterfly effect that if he hadn't gone to that school today, would we be in upward? And I saw what a lot of liberals were like getting a lot of hate for this, and I'm glad they're getting hate for it because they need to pay for their therapy because these children's therapy right now. Because if you're going to be happy about it, there's a special place for you. That's my own little political rant. I hate that I had to bring up, but I don't think a lot of people realize that. Anyway, what are some things that I would change? Speaking of to use the restroom, this is an embarrassing story. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I was in the sixth grade. Um, and I had this teacher who was very mean and wouldn't let anybody use the restroom. And I wish I would have spoken up. That's all I'm going on that one. I'm getting a shower every morning. I grew up in a household where, honestly, that I went to school smelling really bad. It affected me because now I like to smell good. I like to smell, and I couldn't escape that household to save my life until I was 18, and I have a cousin who I don't talk to anymore, help me get out. Getting a job at 16, I wish I would have done that. Especially today's market trying to buy a house. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Pushing myself to get my permit at 15 so I could push myself to get my license. I was 20 something when I got my license. And 19, I think, when I got my permit. So let me tell you. On the bright side, I didn't have to wait 6 months. Um, I wish I would have spoke up about my abuse and instability. Would I have been in foster care? Probably. Would it have been better? Maybe. Who knows at this point? Sticking on my speech therapy. Yes, y'all know I have a speech impediment for those who listen to me or who are friends with me. And for some reason, my, my mom and stepdad and my grandparents just, after a certain point, just ejected to speech therapy. And then speaking out on my mental health, I grew up in a household where you didn't talk about your mental health. And that's the thing. Like I grew up in that generation. Grew up by that generation where mental health wasn't something you talk about. Now it is, and I'm glad we talk about it. Like learning healthier ways to cope. I'm not proud of this. Um, I did practice self harm when I was a teenager because it was easier doing that than dealing with the pain. I quit though, sure. But I wish I would have learned healthier ways to cope with everything. Like talking to a therapist. Started doing more outside, like, yeah, making better financial decisions. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And then not losing my faith in God. But honestly, when things have been different, yes. What are some things I may not have? My best friends, debt, the ability to be decisive and fearless. There are sometimes I am decisive and fearless, I'm not gonna lie. But what are some things that I've learned? Playing the what if game can teach us valuable skills like problem solving, critical thinking, decision making, and the ability to anticipate potential situations and their consequences. It can also help with develop the resilience and consideration for different scenarios and finding solutions and expected challenges, especially when applied to real life situations. What are some takeaways that we can do? Think outside the box. By considering the hypothetical, you are encouraged to explore different perspectives and come to a creative solution. There's evaluating the risk and benefit. There's developing coping strategies by discussing potential challenges and practicing, and you can practice how to handle a difficult situation. There's becoming confident, successfully navigating what if scenarios that can boost your self assurance and dealing with real life challenges. What is some advice I would give you? Well, I'm not sure if I want to give you advice, but I think I would have to say to manage what if dolls can often is linked to anxiety. Yeah, I have anxiety and depression, and and I think by since I moved to my apartment, the depression has been a lot under control. But yeah, um, but let's try to focus on the present moment. Let's try to challenge our negative assumptions, create a more concrete plan, practice mindfulness, and seek help if needed. Instead of dwelling on the hypothetical negative scenarios, why don't we consider what actions we can consider to address potential concerns in a realistic way? What are some strategies? Identify a trigger, challenge the negative assumption, focus on the present, make concrete plans. Um, Reframe your thinking and seek professional help. Now, as always, we're going to end this episode with a quote, and this is life is messy, filled filled with countless worries, questions, and what ifs. The real question was how to know is how a person conquered the what ifs, but how one learned to live in spite of them, even when faced with the reality of answers, with all always being pretty. All right. That is it for this episode. Join me next time. Hopefully, it won't take forever. Like I said, new apartment, new place. So, I'm also debating on if I'm going to turn the comments back on. So, because I feel like I don't know if people learned their lesson yet or not. But if y'all are new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe. But join me next time as we talk about stepping out of my comfort zone. Yep, y'all know what I'm talking about. Well, I'll see y'all next time.